All right, good morning. Welcome to Downtown Brantford Business Improvement Area Board of Management meeting, March 20th, 2025. All right, we'll start with the roll call, Annette. That done?
Roll call's done. Thank you.
Okay. And approval of the agenda. Sean and seconded by Carrie. All in favor? Thank you, carried. Sorry, I'm still letting people in. All right. So we're on to number 3, declarations of conflict of interest. Anyone? No. Good morning, Mandy. Good morning, Ashish. And John, good morning. We have no delegations, consent items. The minutes of the following be approved February 20th, Downtown Brantford BIA Board of Management meeting. You have a motion to approve the minutes. Sandra, seconded by Dave. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And we go into our committee reports, that the following reports be received. Dbbia marketing activations, the parking and transit wayfinding working group, membership working group, February, March executive directors report, and the BIA executive committee meeting minutes from March 13th. May I have a motion to, thank you, Carrie, seconded by Sandra. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Moving along. All right, Annette.
Sorry, could you go back to the mover and seconder? I was getting
That was
an email.
Sandra and
I think it was Carrie.
I'm
and I
sorry,
seconded it.
Carrie and Sandra?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, wait, that one, there was two. Did the last one, Dave seconded? I could be wrong. Did you just second one?
So it was Sandra and Dave for 5.1. So for 5.2, all the minutes and
It was
reports.
Carrie and Sandra.
Carrie and Sandra. Perfect. Thank you.
Right, thank you. All right.
Ashish was in there too. I think it was Dave and Ashish, and then Carrie, and then me. I think
Well, there were lots of hands up, but I
there's
choose,
lots of hands that
I
you
choose
called though.
to.
So, okay.
Thank you. All right. 5.3, when you're ready, Annette.
So just a few items that I picked out of my report to expand on. From the February 11th OBIA What Matters call, Barbara had directed me to ask the OBIA about doing a marketing campaign, shop local, shop Canadian. So I asked that question, and the process had already been started to do that. I emailed it to the board and the membership yesterday. So you have the opportunity to switch out logos, and there's hashtags and that kind of thing. It was a whole toolkit. Other meetings, other city meetings, on February 26th, the Economic Development, Tourism and Cultural Initiatives Committee met, and there was suggested updates to the public art policy. That went to council or committee of the whole on Tuesday. It still has to go to council, but they're making changes to murals. So private property owners are going to have an easier time doing murals. There's still guidelines that will have to be followed, but this is going to be a much better process that they have to follow. It will also make it easier for us to further some of our beautification ideas. Under correspondence, on February 10th, I sent Brian Van Tilborg a letter of support to reinstate the Town and Gown Committee. It was considered at Committee of the Whole on Tuesday and approved. It still needs to go to council. And once it's been approved by council, somebody from the board will need to volunteer to participate on that committee. Well, it's not included in my staff report. Our year end is now at Millard's. It was dropped off last month, which I believe has been the quickest for me to get the year end to Millard's. So unless anybody has any questions about the full package, that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions about that, other than congratulations for getting that? I know that's not easy to get your year end done so quickly, and thanks for doing that. Right. We'll move on to 6.1, our working group meeting updates. First comes parking. Lizanna, do you have any comments about the meeting?
Well, I think we have a few issues like white lines on the parking spots because people are getting fines and they can't see them. So it's really harmful for downtown because people don't want to get fined $30. The other thing I noticed, and I thank the city for putting a parking sign on Bain Street, but there's not one on Echo. So if we could have another one, we'd really appreciate it because people can't see. Once they go past Bain, they have to go to Clarence, and once they get to Clarence, they got to go way around. And if they could have one on Echo Street, it would take them to the parkade and to that parking on Wharf Street. So that would be much appreciated if they would do that. So other than that, I think that we'll leave it at that for this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lizanna. All right, marketing activations group. Sean, do you have any updates?
Just what was in the minutes. No real updates, but that we did talk with Maria from the city was at the meeting. We were talking about the branding for the revitalization, and I think as the minutes from the meeting kind of say that we're going to use both. That the digging downtown or digging downtown will remain the BIA's kind of slogan. For events and for fun things, while the city will have their come around to a new downtown for the official revitalization and rebranding. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you. And membership engagement and recruitment. Sandra, do you have anything to add? Yeah.
We had our second meeting, and we'd like to welcome any more board members that would join us. I want to first of all say that we used to have, I guess, BIA window stickers for businesses. So we're going to look at maybe having those again, and Annette is pricing that. Another thing too, there's currently one vacancy on the board. And what we're looking at is trying to get some of the property owners, which actually is just one, from the south end of downtown, which is of course below, to maybe see if they can, they want to join the board, because we think it's important to engage that group down there, because there's a lot of businesses, mainly corporations, but still there's a lot of people down there that we'd like to have them participate. And not on this, Annette has compiled, I think, a little card or something that lists what the BIA does and what the BIA doesn't. And when that's finished, Annette, I think our group would like to see it, but I think that might be valuable for the whole board when we talk to people. So, you know, if you could make that available to all of us, that would be great. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, 6.2, executive committee changes. And Carrie's with us today that the BIA Executive Committee recommend that the Dbbia Board of Management accept with regret Carrie Korfman's resignation from the BIA Executive Committee. And thank you, Carrie, for serving on the committee for so long. The chair will be, that is me, asking for nominations or volunteers for the secretary's position on the executive. We have a vacancy on the executive. Okay, Annette, sorry.
We need a motion first to accept with regret the
Oh, I'm
resignation.
sorry. You're absolutely right. Motion to accept. Dave, thank you. Seconder. Sean, thank you. All in favor? And I always wonder what happens when we don't accept it. All right. All right. So we do have a vacancy on the executive for the secretary's position. Sandra, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Sean McAllister.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, Sean, do you accept the nomination?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so go ahead, Annette.
We just need a motion from the full board to accept.
Right, right. Okay, so that's my next step is a motion on the table to accept Sean's position of secretary on the executive. Carrie, and seconded by Councillor Samwell. All in favor? Welcome to the executive, Sean.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't say thank you so quickly, I guess.
And thank you, Carrie, again. All right. And secondly, Economic Development, Tourism, and Cultural Initiatives Advisory Committee. Recommendations from the Dbbia Executive Committee that the Dbbia Board of Management accept with regret the resignation of Carrie Korfman from the Economic Development, Tourism, and Cultural Initiatives Advisory Committee. May I have a motion to accept Carrie's resignation from there? David, thank you. Seconder, Lizanna, thank you. All in favor? All right, thank you. So now we need nominations. Someone wants to volunteer for the position on the board. Dave, do you have a question? Or
No, I would like to make a nomination for
okay.
Annette.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm nominating Annette to sit on the Economic Development, Tourism, and Cultural Initiatives Advisory Committee.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Is that you, Sandra?
Yep.
Yes, okay. And we'll take the Annette, do you accept the position?
Yes,
Yes, she does. Okay, so we'll take the vote. All in favor of Annette sitting on the Economic Development, Tourism, and Cultural Initiatives. All in favor? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, okay, carried. Thank you so much. All right, that's done. So we move on to our committee liaisons and welcome Sergeant Boulogne. Good morning, John.
Good morning. It's good to be back. I know I've been absent for a little while. I'm lucky enough to work for a service that invests time in sending me away on courses. And if I actually happen to start coughing during this, I've also been sick for like the last week and a half. So I've got a coffee next to me to hopefully lubricate my throat a little bit. Okay, so you guys were introduced at the last meeting to Constable Dinwall. He's one of my sworn officers. He passed on to me maybe something I'll touch on a little bit later, but some concerns around the Civic Center. Maybe if I can just get a little bit more clarification when the games are on that, but I'll ask about that later. Anyways, going on to what's kind of happening downtown at the moment, as you all are aware, that there's been a change in season with the warmer weather. We have a little bit of a change in the disorder that's happening downtown. So if you haven't noticed, in the areas of Nelson and Market, Victoria Park, the Tim Hortons, and the area around the Salvation Army, we're having the same people pop up that were here during the warmer months last year, engaging in the same unwanted behaviors. So right now I'm trying to pace set. So you may see my team, and I've had a talk with almost all of them now, sending out a directive that we're going to be a little bit more aggressive with our enforcement. So that way, nobody gets to think that it's normal behavior to do drugs in public or deface public or private property with markers, with graffiti. This is some of the things that are kind of popping up at the moment. Say, for example, on the steps of the Vicano building right across from Victoria Park yesterday, one of my special constables was walking by, and there was just one of our community members just scribbling on the steps themselves. They had a coloring book right next to them, but it's just a matter of just not caring, knowing that they're destroying something that belongs to somebody else, but they just don't care. So in cases like that, I have no alternative because I can't have them internalize that care. Then we have to try to use a little bit of punishment. So that person was charged, but the thing is that is becoming a more frequent occurrence. It has been happening a little bit more frequently in the last 2 weeks since things have been warming up. Um, so in January, we actually had a change of names. If you hadn't noticed, we went from the beat and outward facing special constable team to an all-encompassing what we call the CERT team. I think it stands for Core Engagement and Response Team. Nothing has changed. It's just a name, so that way we get to at least feel like we're all a team instead of having a divide between my sworn and special constables. Deployment is generally the same. With the coming months, in order to address this open air drug use, I'm going to try something different this year where we're going to be implementing the bicycles a little bit more. The problem with us patrolling on foot is that we're very visible by design. So my special constables, my constables, at least the special constables are wearing a bright fluorescent yellow. That's intended to increase our visibility, not only by offenders, but also by everybody that frequents the downtown so they know that we're present. The problem is that when we're trying to address the open air drug use, they can see us a mile away walking slowly towards them. By the time we're standing right next to them, the drugs are already hidden, they're already high, and we don't really have anything to latch onto. So with using the bicycles, we're going to be quicker. We'll roll up a little more silently, and then we'll be able to capitalize on the open air drug use. I think the strategy that we're going to be using will be that even on public property, it's something that was pioneered in Peterborough. I know that the mayor was a big advocate for this as well. We're going to try to at least roll up and then tell them to pack up and go as we take those drugs away from them. And if they don't comply, then it becomes an arrest procedure, invasive, kind of getting inside their personal integrity. Nobody really likes to be arrested, searched in public in front of all their peers. Let me see here. I am still, I want to encourage you guys to complain when you see something wrong. Get in touch with me, call the police department because things have changed in the last year. We are regularly walking through 40 Queen Street, which is now the more about like housing owned by the city, because we recognize that we have a more of a wandering problem, right? People are generally housed in the evenings and overnights, but then during the day, if we were reliant on the Salvation Army or a Rosewood House, those people then would return to the community and wander the streets and have all of their drug use and bad behaviors on display. With bringing in 40 Queen Street, now at least some of them have apartments and they're having friends over those apartments. So during those daytime hours, we're not actually seeing those people wandering the streets, which is a very positive. But at the same time, because I'm not always out there myself, I'm going to be reliant on feedback from all of you to see, or to at least deliver that proper response just to the changing strategies that we have with the city. But so far, 40 Queen Street is working really, really well. I have one special constable dedicated to the unit that walks through or to that property, just like I do have one to the Beckett building, where we just walk through. Sometimes we knock on doors to see how people are doing that we are very familiar with and try to at least encourage them to keep on the same track. We walk the hallways to make sure that there's no squatters doing drugs in there. So that way, um, it's a little bit more of a positive environment and there are not people preying on the occupants. Big part of my um, program is also youth engagement. We've partnered up with the YMCA, and I think I might have mentioned to all of you before that we have called the Youth Engagement Series, the YES program at the Y on Tuesdays, and we also have Youth Fusion with New Arrivals to Canada that happens on Thursday, all of them young persons. And over the last week was March break. Um, We were there every day for 2 hours with the classroom, proactively giving them advice on um, drugs, guns, gang activity, and then engaging them with sport during the second hour. But also, what we did on one of those days, we actually had a scavenger hunt through the downtown where we made up riddles where they had to go and go to places like Harmony Square, the Bell Monument, Victoria Park. And I think I really like that idea because it familiarizes a lot of these young people with the downtown and makes them a little bit more comfortable coming down here and exploring. So I think that's going to be a strategy that we're going to try to implement a little bit more frequently with this particular program to promote the downtown and them, say, bring their friends and potentially their parents down here as well. Now, flipping over to the question that I had, Constable Dingwall passed on to me that there were some concerns during Bulldog games around in the parking lots. And I'm just wondering if I might be able to get some clarification so I might be able to deliver the services that are on there.
Anybody?
Anybody? Okay. Well, the thing is, it's just I maybe I'll just throw this out here then. Is there anything that's happened in the last 2 weeks that I might be able to make adaptations to kind of better the downtown, or are we just status quo for the time being? No?
Looks like you're doing a good job, John. That's what I'm gonna say.
I'm trying, but there's always room for improvement, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is, just the value in me attending these meetings is that I can pivot and try to deliver uh, to address any problems that are happening around your buildings or things that you're seeing wrong. So this is this is what I'm trying to do here.
Okay, I have Dave, Carrie, and Sean. So Dave, go ahead.
So I think you touched on it earlier, John, about with the change of seasons, we're seeing more activity on the streets. So some people, um, we're seeing a lot of that. I agree with that. We're seeing a lot more personal items being dropped off. So there's a lot more cleanup than we've had to deal with. That seems to be an ongoing issue to the downtown. So we have a lot of people that are donating items, clothing, and they're just being strewn about for the property owners to clean up. That seems to be an issue, not so much an issue for the police to deal with, but if we can have some type of way of getting that done by the city rather than the property owner, that certainly would be appreciated.
Okay, so to address that point, my guys are on patrol all the time, and there is a phone number that I was provided, and I even just if you were to call the main line for City Hall, they're able to dispatch. I guess their works people. I guess they have some type of app that they use to address that. And I know that personally, when I was seeing shopping carts strewn around the downtown, I would make a quick phone call to City Hall. So the thing is, we can deal with that in two ways. If you've got a problem with that, I don't mind, well, having my guys go over there, verify it, make that phone call. And if we have to expedite anything, I'm pretty sure we can find a way to do that on any of your properties.
Carrie, go ahead.
Yes, I was just going to talk about the south end for a bit. The Tim Hortons there, I'm pretty sure, has closed their seating because of all the troubles. I was wondering if extra attention is being paid down there. There is a problem in that plaza.
Okay, so the thing is that one in specifically is a little bit different, and I really would love to have a little bit more of a dialogue between the two of us, just because you have insight that perhaps I do not. What seems to be happening is that my guys will regularly walk through there. We are not proactively. And we're not refusing to show up to any calls when we are called. But what we're finding sometimes is that um, they will accept money to get those coffees and items sold within the store, and they're taking the money from all the wrong people that have caused problems in the store before. And then we're getting phone calls after 30 minutes to remove them or 15 minutes to remove them. So they're happy enough to take their money, but then they want us to kick them out afterwards. So it's just some of my people have reported back to me that morally that doesn't quite seem right, um, especially if they're paying customers. And as for them making the decision to close the dining area, very difficult. I wish I had the opportunity to speak with that particular owner if they were willing to talk to me, because although I have to be very careful that I don't function like private security, um, if we were to able to open up a more open channel of communication, it's too easy for me to have people go down there when there's a recognizable problem. Um, I would, and instead of closing the dining area altogether, I would have at least suggested that maybe is there a particular bad hour, or is it a matter of during the day they can be open to the public, and then after night, then maybe close down straight to the drive-through? It just seems like just a terrible strategy just to close the entire dining area completely. But then again, I don't know if there's also a timeline, because I had thought that that entire end of 50 Market Street South was supposed to be converting into condos. So I don't really know what's going on there. It just that Carrie, if you do speak to that person, I really would like to have a conversation with them.
Okay, maybe I can arrange a meetup and we can all get together and discuss it.
Okay, thank you. Sean, did you have your hand up?
I did.
You did, yes.
What Dave said kind of covered it. Just the and John said right off the top that like the weather change is made for some more colorful behavior. And the only reason I want to bring that up again is because I had a woman walk in my studio last week. She was fine. She was talking to herself. I've seen her before. And it's not a problem because she left easily and peacefully and all that kind of stuff. But because my business is mainly kids, it frightens them, right? And the parents get frightened as well. So, I guess the point is what you were saying early on, John, about how they feel that the doing drugs in public is becoming normalized. Um, Same with the walking into a business where you really don't have any business. Like Hortons is one thing, right? You walk in there, you can buy a coffee or whatever, right? To walk into my studio when you don't have an appointment signed up, you don't have any reason to be there, right? Other than to just be, right? So again, that's behavior that I don't think really needs to be normalized as well. It's like not that I want to turn people away, but it's helpful helpful to me and to my students that they're not getting that on a regular basis. And like I said, it's not a regular thing. We've had people hanging out around the front, but this is like only the second time somebody's come into the building, but they've always left peacefully. I've never had a problem with that. So
Yeah. No, so the thing is, the way that I actually see it, it's a behavioral issue for me,
mhm.
and that's why I actually touched back on pace setting, right? Because at least in the patch of land that I actually look after downtown here, I can show them that every time they actually are doing drugs, they will get caught, they will get confronted, and they will get shaken down. So then they end up taking that behavior elsewhere. It's not the best strategy because I cannot change what they've kind of internalized, right? Their own belief system. I can tell you that even as I arrived to my office today to engage in this meeting, across the street over at Lonnie's, there was a little alcove, and there was two people in it. One was covered with a silver foil blanket. So as I got out of my car, the reason why I was kind of late is because I walked across the street, and then I pulled the blanket back, and there was one homeless person, and she had a foil in her hand. She was smoking fentanyl. Right. And the thing is it a smart strategy to think that just because you can't see the world, that the world cannot see you. It's like an ostrich putting their head in the sand, and then they think that everything is okay because they're covered with a foil blanket. But that's not the case, right? Because everybody knows. And then there's the fallout of what happens after the drug has been smoked and they're wandering around bent in half. So again, going back to my strategy, I have to be on top of that and prove to these people at any time they're actually seen in public, there's going to be a consequence. So yeah, the behaviors themselves are quite unpredictable. But if they actually fear that consequence, not that I'm trying to spread fear, if they know that there is going to be a consequence in the downtown core, then they'll take their drug use somewhere else.
Can I just follow up quickly? Just because I wanted to ask, what is the actual route for your walks, like with the special constables and everything? Because just I only ask because I'm on King Street, and it's not that like I just haven't seen you guys on King Street. It's not that you don't do it. I just haven't seen it, right? So
Yeah, well, the thing is, they're randomized. So the thing
okay,
is, obviously people have their favorite areas and they know where they're constantly dispatched. So I would say they gravitate to the areas that they're doing the most calls, right? I'm definitely not, they're not walking away where all the action is happening. So the thing is that just if, and I can tell you that on King Street, nearest Colburn Street, there is quite a bit of action there. You may, if looking out your windows, look over there and you might see us in that area, right
Mhm.
around the Royal Bank,
Right.
right? But as you kind of get over to Dalhousie Street and Darling Street, you'll probably see less of us there because there's just less action. It's just kind of a matter of prioritizing where we need to go. But the thing is, if there is any of those situations, this is why I'm highly dependent on complaints because sometimes I can be proactive. Reactive policing, I think, is a little bit antiquated, and it's a really draw on you guys to call us. I don't want you guys to feel like you're bothering us at all, because that's not the case at all. It's just that it's always hard to be at the right place at the right time, and so that's why we say gravitate to places like 53 Dalhousie Street or the Salvation Army, um, all my usual spots, because we try to have as much impact as we can. And if we actually engage, arrest, or charge, then 2 out of my 4 people are then tied up for about 2 hours with paperwork. Whether anything happens in the end, once it actually gets to court, that's an entire different story. But please just call if there's something in your area that's causing you concern, and it's no bother to us at all.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Okay, Lizanna, you're next.
John, I just want to say that you and the constables are really doing a lot. It's just that there's more and more and more vagrants and homeless. And yes, they do collect on Colburn Street, so we do see you probably more than some of the other people. One of the things that I find that we had people housekeeping, set up housekeeping in front of our store. So mornings are really bad for us because they covered with a blanket, 2 people, and I asked them to leave, and they seem to have rights that they don't have to leave. So I think with more consequences, as you were talking earlier, might help the situation because if they know they can get away with almost anything and just mouth off, do whatever, stay there. So I would like to see more consequences so that they know that their actions are being with some consequences because right now they feel that they have rights. So thank you, John, and your constables. I think you're doing way more than even possible, but there's just too many that it looks like you're not doing enough. Thank you, John and constables.
Yeah, no problem. Because it is complicated. I can tell you that, say, for example, um, I'll use 53 Dalhousie, the Tim Hortons there, as the example because they've even gone so far to try to take care of their problems. They've hired a security guard, right? So not only is the management there going up to people and asking people to leave, then the security guard goes and asks them to leave. But the thing is, because every one of those interactions is a learning experience. They know that there is no force that kind of comes as a consequence of those interactions, right? And then what happens is that when we show up, they get up and they're all nice and they leave. So I don't want to, geez, we don't always want to come across as the dark cloud, right? But really, some of those people should be leaving when they're asked by management or asked by the security guards. And so that's why some of our approaches to situations like that, if we know if it's the same person on repeat, we might appear to the public that we're very conscious of, that we're heavy-handed when we could walk right in. You've been asked to leave. Now you're under arrest. Now we're shaking you down. And some of them kick and scream as we're dragging them the Tim Hortons. And as much as that is regrettable, it's I have to try to make that impression so that way they do take the store owners and the security guards a little bit more seriously. We should be the tail end of that whip.
Thank you.
just-
Annette, you're next.
Going back to the Tim Hortons across from the casino, I did meet with the district manager last week. I offered him up a few ideas, which triggered a call to Sophie, who came by the office here to talk about what the district manager and I had talked about before she went down to meet with him. So I don't know if that meeting happened. If you want a contact for the district manager, I can email you that information.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I'll have to follow up with Sophie today. I think she just started work yesterday and I've been away for about a week. So I have a little bit of catching up to do.
All right. Thank you, John. We really appreciate your update and your being here. And you're welcome to stay, or if you have a busy day, that's your choice.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, Councillor Samuel.
So I don't have a lot to update on, but I just really wanted to thank you for coming out to delegate for the town and gown. So that was really kind of all I was hoping to say, is just to thank you for your support for that. And I look forward to you guys being part of that as it comes back.
And I'm going to give you back response because you did a stellar job on the food insecurity, and actually saw you on the news last night, and so you've been recognized, and your initiative is going far and wide. So we appreciate that from our community. So thank you for your leadership, Mandy. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lizanna, do you have a question?
No, I just have a comment. I just want to thank Mandy, has been doing a wonderful, wonderful job in the city. And for us at Dbbia and us as merchants, I have to thank you and thank you and thank you, because I've had many requests of you, and I don't know how you do so much because you're everywhere. But I just want to thank you that you have answered so many things and had the changes made. I don't know how you do it, but it's great. And I just want to thank you as a merchant that you have really, really done a lot of issues that were issues and made them happen. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, Lizanna.
Thanks, Lizanna. All right. Next on our list is May, and I know May was trying to get into this meeting or to another meeting, perhaps. I don't know what happened, but she didn't appear in our waiting room. So I'm sorry if we've missed May, because I always appreciate her report. All right. Next, Lindsay, welcome.
Thanks, Barbara. Good morning, everybody. Some updates on the downtown revitalization project. I'm going to start with design and construction updates. I'll try and keep my eye out for any hands that come up, ask questions if you have them. Basically, we are at the 95% detailed design package received for contract 1. So to remind folks, contract 1 is going to include Brant Ave from Dalhousie Street to Colburn Street and Icon Drive from Colburn Street to Clarence Street South. Construction for contract 1 will begin this spring, 2025. We are on target to receive the 100% detailed design package, and we'll do the subsequent issuing of tender for April 14th. That's our target date to issue tender, and construction is expected to begin in June. Ahead of construction, we are going to begin sharing the detour routes for people to navigate to and around the downtown. We have had a chance to meet and speak with Annette and Barbara about the detour plan, and they really advocated for you and emphasized to us in our communications promoting the routes that we include messaging that emphasizes that businesses are open and operating as usual during construction. So we will definitely integrate that in our messaging as we move along. We discussed using multimodal communication, including social media, email, web, and potentially the expositor as well, just to give people as much notice as possible and information about how they can navigate this very, very busy section of town. We will be hosting a groundbreaking event for the community, and we would love to invite the board and the members of the Dbbia to attend. We don't have a date yet, given that we haven't gone to issue tender yet. We don't know when construction is going to begin precisely, but once we do, we'll be able to get plans in motion for that groundbreaking event. And we'll make sure that you're informed, you have an invitation, and you would certainly be very welcome to attend. As you're probably well aware, we have split this project into 2 phases. The first phase I've just described to you, Brant Ave and ICOM Drive. The second phase of the project really covers the remaining core. So we are expecting the 50% design submission for contract 2, so phase 2, April 25th. That submission should include a phasing schedule. So right now we have some tentative plans about where we're going to start construction in the core. This submission is going to include a sequence of that work to cover the remaining geography of the project. And we will share that with you. We continue to prioritize connecting with the local businesses. Councillor Samwell, she's already gotten a shout out. She's been an amazing partner through this. She and I have been doing a lot of business visits. We'll be going to the Armory later today, and we are hoping to make sure that everybody is very well aware of the construction that's happening this year and beyond. I do encourage any business owners that you know in your networks, if they've got questions, please have them reach out to us. We're happy to give information over email or by call. We can visit the business, or of course they can come down to the Downtown Revitalization Office in City Hall. That's pretty much all the updates I had on my end, but I'm very happy to take questions if anybody has any. Yes.
Go ahead, Ed.
Sorry.
Last time, I think it was brought up about free parking during the construction. Is that something that was looked into?
So we are doing a parking analysis to look at ways to manage parking during construction. It will probably look different the way that we approach that for contract 1 versus contract 2. Given parking will have less impact certainly in this first contract of work on ICOM Drive. We will maintain access to the parkade, and given that we're not really moving into the core, it is a less involved plan, but this is the time for us to start making plans about contract 2, because this of course affects budgets and a lot of people have to get buy-in. So we are looking at strategies to manage that.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, Sandra, go ahead. Oh, you're muted, Sandra.
I'm excited to see something actually start happening. So make sure we get that date for the shovels in the ground
I
to
will, for
actually
sure.
see
Yeah.
this go forward. So keep us posted.
I will. We're excited too.
Okay. All right. Seeing no further questions. Great job, Lindsay. Thank you so much for being here, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're on to Sebastian Corey from Laurier. Good morning.
Everyone. Oh, sorry about that. Hi everyone. Sorry about this being the first time. I unfortunately wasn't able to make the last meeting, but I am trying to improve that for the future. Just a couple updates from the Students' Union end of the field. And a couple updates that also apply to the university as a whole. So our open house at Laurier was on the 15th. I wasn't there personally, but I was told that it went very well. And I'm happy to kind of take back any questions about that process and what that looked like. But we're excited for admissions for this year and what that'll turn into with orientation and all of next year. Also, thank you to Councillor Samwell and the entirety of the BIA for Town and Gown going through the committee of the whole. Excited to see that go through council and excited to see it actually come back alive. Unfortunately, leading to my other update is because the Students' Union operates on a turn-by-turn basis, I am out of a job in the end of April. So unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. But glad to have that as something to pass on. And yeah, thank you to everyone for your support on that. With the final update I have is next week, I'll be attending a couple of seminars with the User Experience Design Program. Specifically, they've been contracted by the Workplace Planning Board of Grand Erie to look at community safety and explore some recommendations for that. So I'm excited to see what they bring, and I'll provide some updates on how that goes, probably by email. But yeah, happy to take any questions any of you may have.
Any questions for Laurier? No. All right. Sebastian, will you be carrying on this committee?
Depending on what that timeline looks like, it'll just depend of when my contract looks like. My successor has been hired at this point, so I'm looking to start making some introductions in the near future.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. All right. So, city staff, external committee updates, economic development, any updates there? Okay, seeing none. Heritage Committee, Dave, anything?
Nothing, sorry. Well, the first meeting that I'll be attending is actually Monday, so.
Oh, good. Okay, so we'll look forward to that next month.
Yes.
And Chamber of Commerce, anything from the chamber in it?
We're not meeting until April 9th, so nothing.
All right. And the Downtown Action Committee.
Yes, we're actually meeting today. They've set up a schedule for the rest of the year. So we'll be meeting in March, June, and September.
Okay, good. You'll let us know about that next month as well. All right. Any discussion for the good of the BIA? Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I'd sent out an email. I just had a few ideas about planting things and beautifying downtown with art and plants. I think that's something to look into as it's spring already. I think we might even be able to plant early. Everyone says to plant at like after May 2-4 weekend, but last year I had planted things early May and it worked out okay. So I presume that it would be okay to do something like that, but if we set aside a budget or do something very cool, we can get some more attention from out of town and even people in Brantford who just want to go for a walk. It just gives them something to see. One simple concept is just wrapping the poles in something and just doing that across all of downtown. And then another one that I saw was just like a canopy of some kind of either leaves or plants or art. So those are just a few suggestions. It's something to look into because if we miss the window of doing that, then we won't really be able to for the rest of the summer.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest just here that Sean is the chair of the Marketing and Beautifications and whatever else committee. It seems to be growing. If you just send a quick email to Sean, and we can put that on the agenda probably. Sean, go ahead. Go ahead.
I've got the email that Ed sent originally,
Okay.
so yeah, we can talk about it next week,
That's on the
26th.
26th, right?
It's next
Cool.
Wednesday is the meeting, right? Okay,
Awesome.
good.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right, our next meeting is,
Barb,
I'm sorry, did I miss
yeah.
someone?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there's a new restaurant opening next to my studio, next to Sandra's building. And I met the owners yesterday. Cubano, I think is what they're calling it. So Cuban food, which is awesome. But I did introduce myself and told them about the BIA. So when things come around, they said they hope to be open by the end of the month. So that's just another business that will probably need to be contacted to let them know all the information.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Maybe they'll host a business after 5 or whatever
Right.
downtown connects.
Yeah.
David, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that one of the buildings that we manage on George Street, the owner there is working with the city to do one of the murals that was earlier talked about. So having this change to the mural program for private owners is going to be a benefit to him. You're going to see that hopefully implemented before the spring. He's got some really great design ideas. He's been wanting to do this for some time. He wasn't aware that the city was making changes to that process, so he's quite excited, and he's been working with those people with the city that are involved in that. So if you're going down George Street, there's a big wall right beside Town Salon, which is next to From Scratch, the bagel place. And so there's a big wall there. That's where this mural is going to happen. So it'll be across from the Laurier housing area.
That's good news.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Excellent. Paint the downtown. There you go. Okay. New slogan. All right. If there's nothing else, I don't see any other hands up. All right. Our next meeting is April 17th, to be via Zoom. And appreciate everyone being here, and motion to adjourn. David, and seconded by Ashish, and all in favor. All right. Have a good day, everyone.
You too, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone, thank you.